Thank you.
Have we got any apologies from anyone this evening? Nobody's, Meg hasn't given anybody an apology? Right, that's good. Declarations of interest. Nobody's given me any declarations of interest. Public speaking time. I understand we have a couple of speakers tonight. Jane, would you like to let one of the...
let Fred and Brett in.
Right. Welcome, is Fred there now? Welcome, Fred. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you, and I'm just on and doing my video. Yeah, hello, Kathy.
Hello, good evening. Welcome.
Thank you.
Off you go. We're waiting.
Okay. You were running it, so I was waiting for you to lead. Basically, Kathy, what I wanted to talk about was the Kapiti Gateway project and the lack of information which is coming out from Council on a number of issues. And I would like to see that the community, the local community here, is informed about what's going on. I think firstly, I'd like to touch on the governance board, who presumably are making decisions now. It comprises 3 council managers and 2 iwi representatives, presumably in Manawhenua, in which case they are from Otaki. Shouldn't there be a local Paraparaumu Beach representative or one who knows about Paraparaumu Beach on this group, as they are the people who will be affected by such things as additional traffic, etc. A second point on this is, what is the role and decision-making capability of the board? I haven't seen that documented anywhere. Second point, discovery area of the gateway. Who decides what's going into it? Is the role of the New Zealand Forest and Bird Society on developing the conservation area on Kapiti Island be included? I don't know. Will the Sanderson Memorial plaque be restored onto its original grey wacky block? I see the grey wacky block has just been tossed aside in the area at the moment, and presumably the plaque has been removed somewhere. Third point would be, what are we getting for the figure which was quoted last week, 7.2 mil? You can probably get a 250 square metre GJ Gardner house for about 500k. We need to know what the budget is and where the money's from. And the public needs to know, or the ratepayers need to know, particularly the ones who are going to be affected by the whole project. Where can the plans be seen for the whole project? Only thing I've been able to find through the council is just some artist impressions and one very poorly located floor plan for the main buildings, which came out recently. A new parking area was in the release last week. Where's it going to be? How much more of the limited grass area of the McLean's Park is going to be turned into tarmac? When you took the pool out in developing McLean Park Central Park, it got replaced by concrete. I'm not enthusiastic about that. The other next point would be, where is the funding coming from? In the press release, all sources mentioned so far are vague. They're going to squeeze the present KCDC budget. Does that imply it was padded beforehand? Do you know? We should know. That's a very important point. And looking at some of the way council spent its money, that's obviously a lot of slack in the budget they've been approved. Pushing costs into the future was another suggestion. Still goes through to the ratepayer. That's very short-sighted. We're carrying a hell of a lot of deficit funding into the future. A lot of people, particularly it seems on the council officers' side, are very gung-ho about spending other people's money. Finally, I just make the point at the moment, having sat in on this project for a long time, 4 to 5 years, consultation by council staff has been appalling. Finally, what about trees? I'm rather soft about trees and pahutakawas. Council doesn't seem to like them. They've dropped 6 in McLean's Park, and I understand they just dropped 8 up in the transport hub. We are assured they're going to be replaced by, quote, new plantings. but those trees were 30 years old or more. It's going to take a long time before we get back what we've lost. So that's my request. Can you find out some information, Kathy?
Thank you, Fred. Now we've got some questions for Fred from many of the members. I cannot see any hands up. Anybody? Nobody with any questions? Fred, Jane, is it better to reply to Fred now before we let the next speakers in, say Fred coming back?
Martin's got a question for you.
Oh, you're there. Okay, Martin. Yes, Martin. Can you unmute yourself? Yeah, that's it.
No, Jane's got to unmute me. Look, I'm sorry, I'm afraid it's not a question, because I think with regards to what Fred's been talking to there, it might be a group of questions that perhaps come back from you, Kathy, which more likely will need a bit of research as well. What I'm going to say, Fred, is I'm pretty sure there's quite a few people on this community board that agree with a lot of what you're saying. It's been an issue that we've had around this project right from the beginning. A lot of the concerns that you just raised have been raised by myself and others that haven't really been overtly supportive of this project for process reasons right from the beginning. I just would comment on your if it's okay, Kathy, if I can comment on one of the questions, is in regards to talking towards Mana Whenua down at our beach, which Kaitiaki Kau would be a front leader for that, I'm sure, and the Webbers in general. I actually broached that a question again today at the council meeting around Tangata Whenua versus Mana Whenua and iwis and that sort of scenario, and how specifically the Webbers weren't consulted through the Te Urahi process, which I think is a shocking result and one that I have brought up repeatedly. So there are some issues there. And it's going to be interesting to see how we address them in the future, but I'm certainly trying to do the best I can to address them. But I'm afraid we're in the minority in the council around this project at the moment.
Can I comment, Kathy?
Right, Fred?
My apologies to Martin. I assured him about 4 months ago I was going to leave any interest in local politics.
Love having you here, Fred, keeping us honest.
Councillor Randall.
Yeah, thanks, Fred. I mean, of course, as you know, I agree with most of the comments you made. The thing that concerns me, and maybe Mark may comment on this, for a start, what was reported was actually a briefing. It's just a briefing. There was no vote taken as such. And it was just a briefing, and briefings are technically supposed to be confidential, but for somehow the mayor decided to release it to the press. So we have not actually voted on this extra money yet. But what concerns me, and this is where I would like to have Mark's opinion, is that the policy of the council recently is to take money that has been designated in the long-term plan for a particular project. Because that project's not going ahead, we then use it for other purposes. Is that a proper purpose, or should we budget things and plan things in advance, Mark?
Mark, did you want to respond or not?
Thanks, Madam Chair. Look, I will respond to, I think, Councillor Randall's question and also to Mr. Davies. So first of all, the question was, can we just take approved funding and reallocate it to other projects at will? No, not at all. We can't do that, Councillor Randall. So we have a formal process whereby we set budgets and we consult with the community and for specific purposes. And if we don't spend that money, every year we seek approval from council to carry the money forward. So any unspent money that's allocated to either a project that's in train or a project that has been committed to by the long-term plan, we will carry that money forward, because essentially we've sought community feedback. We are delivering on what we plan to do. So we do carry money forward from one year to the next, and that's for capital works projects. Well, the other question that Mr. Davey asked is, do we have a lot of fat in our budgets? Because we just seem to be able to find the extra money. So look, this was a briefing. It was a briefing to council. I think everyone's well aware that everything is simply costing a lot more. So when you do the design and you go out to tender, quite often, although you put in contingency, sometimes actually, or most times, the actual cost of construction far exceeds engineers' estimate, and it's something that's not unique to KCDC. It happens across the board. But the costs have spiraled. COVID-19 has not been particularly friendly to anyone. Obviously, we've got supply constraints, the cost of materials is going up, and the cost of professional fees are going up. So the briefing was to actually discuss with council what they wanted to do, whether they wanted to put the project on hold because the costs have spiraled. So what the proposal was, and where we got a steer from the councillors, was that as part of the Three Waters transition, Kapiti Coast District Council has been allocated $5.26 million from 1 July 2024. Now that is it's what it's called as federal funding, and that what central government has said is it's $5.26 million for the council to spend on anything that improves the well-beings of the community. So what we proposed to the councillors is that at the moment that funding is unallocated. So we've got budget in the long-term plan for what we plan to do, and there's this $5.26 million that's up for grabs. So what we discussed with the council is that, do you want to continue with the gateway, yes or no? And the will of the table was yes. And so what the proposal is that we will put an application through to central government. Part of that $5.26 million will be used to fund the gateway shortfall and other things.
Thank you, Mark. Councillor Randall, did you have another question? Your hand's still up.
Well, just to follow up, Mark, yeah, thank you for the answer. But recently, the council voted on the transport hub, made a decision on the transport hub, and that seemed to, the money for that seemed to come from an already existing source.
Yeah, so Councillor Randall, through you, Madam Chair. So Councillor Randall, in terms of the town centre's budget, as it sits within several places within our long-term plan. Sometimes, our budgets are set by activity. So as you know, we don't budget stuff by ward, but we budget by activity. So access and transport, economic development, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a number of budgets that we can pull together for the town centre. So what they were proposing to do was just to reallocate some funding. So again, when we put together the town centre budget, it sits in different buckets, and that funding was just actually pulled together. But also what we do sometimes have to do is, this is different times for all of local government. On the one side, we're being asked to stimulate the local economy. And on the other side, we are just, everything we do is costing us a lot more. So we have the ability to reprioritise our budgets at an activity level. So if you've planned for example, 12 projects in access and transport, what we have the ability to do is actually speak to council and seek approval to reprioritise those budgets to do 5 of the 12. So at an activity level, you can reprioritise and carry over.
No, thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions? Fred, thank you for coming this evening, and you're welcome to stay if you wish, but I'll reply to you now because it's easier with the Zoom and we've got some more speakers. So I know you've got a lot of questions around the planting, the parking and lots of other things. So would you be able to please email me those with questions you're not happy with, if you haven't had the answers this evening, and I shall follow them up for you and see what I can do.
Thank you very much, Cassie. I'll do that.
That's quite right. Thank you for attending, Fred. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right, Brett and Malcolm, welcome. Are you able to unmute yourselves? There we go. Good evening and welcome. Where have you gone? Oh, there we go. Cannot hear you. Brett, we cannot hear you.
I think she might still have me on. I just unmuted myself. I'll mute myself now.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Fred. Brett, try unmuting again if you would, please. Can we hear you? Can you,
We should be able to hear Brett.
can anybody else hear Brett? No.
Because he's not on mute.
No. Anything you can do, Jane, or
I don't think it's our end.
it's not our end?
No.
Okay, can you hear me now?
We can.
Oh, absolutely. Welcome, and thank you for coming along this evening.
Yeah, and thank you for having us. I've got more quickly tonight. We'd quite like to talk about urban residential intensification in general, and in particular, we'd like to talk about the proposed development in the horse paddock at 240 Kapiti Road, which we are neighbours of. Just by way of introduction, we believe that Kapiti Coast residents need to be confident that their elected councillors are acting in their best interests regarding intensification of urban housing. The future and welfare and well-being of communities, not by profit-taking developers. The 1.9 hectare horse paddock at 240 Kapiti Road, we think should be used as a positive example for large-scale medium-density housing, one that's been well planned with strong community engagement, rather than one intended to make a developer absurdly rich at the expense of neighbouring communities and the wider Kapiti Coast District. We believe that housing, and that should include environmental, cultural and social well-beings as well as economic ones. We also believe that council needs strong, clear and enforceable standards so that residents can sleep safely, knowing that council will protect their interests and those of their communities. Large-scale developments should be required to produce a social impact study, which we believe should be conducted by independent analysts appointed by the council. So that's our intro.
All right. It's okay. Thank you. Thank you. Any questions from any of the board members, councillors? I'm looking. Councillor Randall.
Yeah, thank you, Brett. I just asked a question about the car parking. Is it your understanding that the development will not be required to provide car parking for the residents?
The information we've seen, which is a document submitted via the developer, suggests that there will be 170 car parks to be provided on that site for, I think there's 139 units to go in there, most of which are 2-bedroom.
Okay, so there will be sufficient car park.
We don't think there will, and that's part of our concern. You know, a lot of the properties that are being planned in there really aren't suitable for families, and it's highly possible that they'll be rented to, you know, a 2-bedroom property, for example, could easily house 2 couples. People these days, that's 4 cars, and also there's no sections there, so a lot of people with recreational vehicles, you know, jet skis, boats, all of that sort of stuff is going to put a lot of pressure on the available space. And one of our concerns, apart from just volume of traffic coming and going, into what's already a pretty busy intersection on the corner of Cedar Drive and Kapiti Road, is street parking spilling over from this proposed development into Cedar Drive and Regent Drive, as well as on Kapiti Road itself.
Okay, thank you. The other question is, did you make mention, or do you believe that there will be insufficient space for clotheslines for?
I think it's less than insufficient, Councillor Randall. If you look at the plans that the developers drawn up, there's nowhere anywhere that a clothesline can go. There's absolutely no space at all. So people who want to dry laundry, I imagine, will be doing it with a clothes dryer.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I'd quite like to add to that, and that the people who are living there are going to have very little room to enjoy themselves because of the size of the units themselves, the fact that they don't have anything more than a postage stamp of the back section and a bit of imitation turf. And for those reasons, they're only going to have their bed and their television, and outside that, they're going to be looking for their entertainment in the way of boating, recreational vehicles,
Okay,
and interest outside the units or the property itself, and that's going to impose its own problems.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Guy, you had a question?
Well, I mute myself. Yeah, here we go. Yes, thank you for the presentation. It's a very interesting development, and I know that some people are saying that there could be a need for such a development for those people who don't really want any land around the house and who have limited finance, and it may be quite a low cost option. But my main question though is around the actual boundaries between the development and the neighbours. So do you know what sort of barrier will be between the neighbours and the development? Like, will there be a fence there, or will it be some sort of other type of shielding?
From what we've seen from the report, from the supporting documentation provided by the developer, it looks as though the properties sit within probably 1.5, maybe 2 metres of a 2.2 metre boundary fence. The properties themselves, I think from memory, are 6.2 metres tall. So, you know, there's going to be a great, but basically a wall of properties 6.2 metres tall that fills the block. And should also add here too, we're not anti-development. You know, we live next to the horse paddock. We've been expecting some sort of sale and development for a long time, and we're comfortable with development in that space. It's just a matter of the nature of the development, and what's being proposed there, we think, is a massive overkill, which has no sort of sympathetic alignment with the community that surrounds it. And you know, that's our real or one of our concerns about this.
The other one that is close to my heart is I live at 2 Halsey Grove, and everything that goes in and out of this proposal is going to go past my front door. And there's only one, at this stage, there's only one access to the property indicated, and that is directly off Halsey Grove. I'm wondering why there is not going to be access directly onto Kapiti Road. And I can only assume that, I've got nothing here but to assume that the council are opposed to that idea. And really what I'm trying to find out here tonight is what can the board for a start and the council ultimately do for our concerns.
Right, thank you. Johnny. Can you unmute yourself, please, Johnny?
Yeah, look, I've just a quick question. I've looked through your website, and apologies, I'm having difficulty hearing everybody tonight. And I understand your concerns regarding the intensity of the development, and also being either non-notified or notified consent. So do we know, I mean, does anyone know where that consent process is at this stage?
As we understand it, with the KCDC at the moment, and they have called for further information. And
Sorry, I can't hear.
Okay. I'll call in Mark de Haast. Mark, what do you want to say?
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair. Look, the question was, where is the application at the moment, and what is the process whereby council will listen to your concerns? So, look, earlier today I caught up with Mr. James Jefferson, who's the Group Manager of Regulatory Services, and where it currently sits with the council is, yes, the resource consent application has been received by the council, and what you said is absolutely correct. So the council has actually requested a whole lot more information from the developer. So the application itself is incomplete. There's lots and lots of information that the developer has yet to furnish the council. So no decision on what type of notification has yet been made because it's an incomplete application. In terms of what is the process whereby council will hear your concerns? So right now, any objections to a resource consent application that hasn't been notified just has any objections on sort of general grounds just has no legal weight whatsoever. So you do need to wait for the notification process. The council just isn't in a position to decide what notification process needs to be taken because the application itself is incomplete. So, however, Mr. Jefferson has taken on board the comments that you have both made, and is encouraging you please to provide feedback on the District Plan 2 changes. And as soon as we have more information about this application, council can make a decision on the notification, and at that point, that's when we definitely want to hear about more from you in terms of your thoughts and concerns. So please be rest assured we do hear you, but we are waiting on a lot of information from the developer.
Mark, could I just ask Mark a question? Would it be advantageous if the community board set up a meeting with the developer and the residents, not at all, to go through? No. Okay.
No, through you, Madam Chair. Look, with the greatest respect, the application is from the developer to the council, and the process is that the council will review that, and if the application is full of the information that is required, the council will make a decision. So the matter is between council and the developer. The developer knows that we've asked for information, and so we're waiting on that. And the team will be talking to the developer and chasing the developer, and a lot of things have changed. A lot of things we are seeing growth in Kapiti is slowing down. Interest rates are going up. Developers are actually now holding on to the land, and all these big developments that they plan to do are on hold because of interest rates, because of escalating costs of building, supply shortages, etc., etc. So the pace of construction out there in the marketplace has slowed down because of COVID. So we will continue to work with the developer. The developer knows the council's position, and until such time as we actually receive the information, we can't make a decision on the notification process. So I don't think there's any benefit to the community board trying to seek a meeting. Council does that anyway.
Thank you, Mark. Councillor Halliday.
If I could just make some comments as well, if that's all right. I'm sorry to disagree with you, Mark, but I've just come from an Infometrics seminar at the Southwoods, and Kapiti's economy compared to the rest of the country is actually booming, and we're a very desirable place for people to want to come. Look, gentlemen, do hear your concerns, but we've also got a government that's, well, we've got a housing crisis, and we've got a government that's empowering a lot of legislation that councils don't really have a lot of control over. Fortunately, they're not looking at putting it 3 stories up and three buildings on 3 stories up on a normal size section and doing a whole lot of those, which I'm potentially getting happening next to my place shortly. So there's a heck of a lot going on, and it's only going to speed up from what I'm hearing around the place. There are a lot of developers are eyeing up Kapiti for development, and you've got the airport just across the road there as well. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens in that space. I just want to thank you, Mark, for that information. It's great you touched base with James today. That gives the community board a good direction with regards to where they sit potentially amongst this as well. But with what that particular group, have already got a multi-story apartment block development happening up in Hihaka, just off Ihaka Street. As when I had a look through the resource consents around the place at the moment. So they are establishing themselves in the area, and I dare say the 2 developments I've got going won't be the last that they more than likely have as well. I'm afraid I've got to disagree with you on some things though. One of the problems we've got in Kapiti is that we have a lot of people in large houses that want to downsize and don't have anything to downsize into. I find myself in that bracket as well. I'm moving a 60 square metre place onto a section, you know, we've downsized from a 5-bedroom family home in Cedar Drive, interestingly enough. So there are a lot of people in my situation who are quite happy with a smaller place. It's less maintenance, and that frees up larger homes for families as well. So it's a body corporate type situation. I don't think it's going to be social housing as such. And the fact that you're talking that they could potentially have toys like jet skis and that sort of stuff, I think hits the nail on the head with regards to these will be potentially high income people, not low income people. I don't think this is going to be a social housing development as such, just something to bear in mind as well. But it's going to be very interesting to see not just this space, but other spaces and how Kapiti evolves in the future. But I think there's a substantial bit of that that's going to be potentially out of council's control with the intensification that's going on. We're up to 6 stories down at the beach. We're up to 8 stories up by the railway station. I hate to say, but Kapiti Road's one of the busiest roads in the country. There's more than likely going to be a lot of development up and down that, and our sleepy little town is not necessarily going to be as sleepy as what it once was. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the space is. But thank you very much for coming to the community board, and I'm very sure Kathy will be keeping an eye on things for you.
Thank you, Mark. You wanted to say something else?
Yeah, thank you. But,
Oh,
well, I was just going to say that I have to disagree with Councillor Halliday. I actually agree with what Mark de Haas just said. So I'm sorry, I agree with Mark. That's all.
thank you, Councillor Randall. Mark.
Look, through you, Madam Chair. Look, thank you to both Councillor Randall and Councillor Halliday. Look, in essence, both of you are correct. The Kapiti's economy has boomed. We have benefited from COVID-19 has allowed people to work from home, so which means that you know, sort of quite a large affluent working force that normally travels into Wellington and spends their money in Wellington has been working at home, working from home, and they've been spending locally. Transmission Gully now open, the connectivity to Wellington has been strengthened, and now people, you know, are attracted to move up to Kapiti because they can actually still be employed in the city and work 2 or 3 days from home. So yes, Councillor Halliday, the Kapiti economy has fared very, very well. What I'm talking about is what we're starting to see on the ground now in terms of actual growth in rating units. So you know, in terms of when we did the forecasts for our growth in our long-term plan, we had factored in 1% growth in our rating units year on year. So we've got 25,700 rating units in the district, and we've forecast to grow 1% per annum. Now this year we'll be lucky if we hit between 0.5 and 0.8 And that is because what we're seeing on the ground is we're seeing a lot of developers have slowed down their development, and it's because they can't get the building materials. So GIB, there's a national shortage of GIB. It's got to the point now where the placemakers and the carters of this world are heavily regulating the builders and stopping stockpiling and actually going out to site and actually checking where they are installing the GIB. We heard this week that the costs of roof fixings have gone up 15%. The cost of roof iron has gone up 40%. And we know from discussions with our developers that they're having to now go back to their vendors and say, look, you know, cost increases are escalating. So things are, in terms of the pace of construction is slowing down. Tomorrow, we're expecting an announcement on the OCR. OCR is currently sitting at 1.5%. Some economists, or most economists, are saying it's going to be a double whammy. It's going to be a 50 basis points increase to 2%. That means that your typical mortgage rates are going to start to head up to 5-6%. Now, these developers take on huge loans, and a 6% increase, an interest rate of 6% is a hell of a lot more than an interest rate of 2%. So Councillor Halliday, yes, the economy in Kapiti has done really, really well. The employment has remained. People are staying at home, working from home, spending money, which is fantastic. People are doing the renovations, but there is a slowdown on construction. And what a lot of the developers are doing is they might actually put an application for a development of, say, 20 new homes. And what we're starting to see is, so when unit title is issued to those sections, effectively, if you're doing a development that is 20 units and you issue unit title, there's 20 new rating units at the start of the rating year. Developers are not seeking unit title applications. It's better for them to keep that as one rating unit. So we are seeing a slowdown, and the reality, what's going to happen is that we're going to actually have much slower growth than what we've anticipated over the next 2 or 3 years. And then we're going to go gangbusters, because there's going to be the supply, there's going to be the builders, and we're going to start to experience growth in double digits. So, you know, I'm certainly not saying that every single developer is slowing down, but what we're seeing in terms of the growth in our rating units, we're seeing developers actually slowing stuff down because they can't get the builders, or they can't get the materials, or the materials that they do get, it's costing them 40% more. So local economy is going really, really well, but we are seeing a slowdown on construction.
Thank you, Mark. Brett and Malcolm, is there anything more you would like to say?
Well, I'd like to thank Mark de Haas for his explanation of timeline and where things are at. I guess our concern, we knew that the council was soon to start consultation on this district plan, and that I guess our worry was that the cart was going to get ahead of the horse in terms of our particular concerns regarding 240 Kapiti Road, and that that horse may well have bolted before we got a chance to actually have some constructive input into the district plan, which is, I think, a conversation that's worth having and promoting actively across the whole district.
Malcolm, is there anything you would like to say?
There's a lot I would like to say, but it probably needs to be kept for another occasion. It's certainly been helpful this evening, and I thank the board for allowing us the opportunity. But I just hope we get more opportunity in the future.
Thank you. Mark, you wanted to make another comment?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Through you, just an open invitation to both Brett and Malcolm. Our doors are always open. Come in and speak to the team. That would be very helpful for everyone.
Yep. Cool.
Thank you, Mark. Yes, I was going to say, I'll be in touch and we'll keep in touch, and the board could walk the talk and walk the journey with you, just to ensure that you're kept in the loop of what's happening as we get along, go through the system. How does that sound?
Yep, that's a constructive way forward.
Right, the board will keep an eye on staff.
Yep.
Does that sound good?
Thank you very much.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming and airing your concerns. It's really good to hear from the community, and if we can help, we certainly will. So thank you. So have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You're welcome to stay and listen if you'd like. Right, thank you. So we've done public speaking time. Item 5, members' business, public speaking time responses. We've just done the responses. Any leave of absence? Nobody going on holiday? Matters of an urgent nature, I haven't been notified of anything. Community board members' activities. I know I was late this month. I've emailed through the ongoing business and activities. Is there any comments? I'd just like to thank Mr. Guy Burns very much for attending the Anzac Day and taking the wreath and laying the wreath up at the Vista Club for the RSA. Did you have was it a good time there, Guy? Was it enjoyable? He's all good.
Yeah, yes, it was a very excellent event, and the wreath was well received, and it was much appreciated by the RSA. And overall, it was an interesting morning for myself. So thank you for that.
Right, that's good. Thank you, Guy. Right, well, we moved on to item number 6, reports.
Does Martin want to speak?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, Martin had got his hand up.
Oh, Martin, sorry.
It's all right
You-
now.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jane. Item 6.1, consideration of applications for funding on page 6. The recommendations are on page 6 and page 7.
Guy wants to say something?
Where's people keep moving around the screen for some reason.
Yes,
Guy.
I'd like to move that we allocate $500 to applications A to J in the agenda, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, and $500 for those. I move that we approve $5,000 for application K, the Otiki Kapiti Principals Association. I move that for L, we approve a grant of $392. And for M, N, and O, I move we approve a grant of $500. And I'd like to also bring in R for $500, and I move that we approve that, and that will be our allocation for the year in terms of how much money is left behind. And for the applications P, Q, and S, I move that we put that on the table for the next meeting.
Thank you, Guy. Do we have a seconder for that? For those?
Martin,
Have I
put his hand up.
Councillor Randall has seconded them. Seconded them.
Martin,
Martin. Councillor Halliday, did you wish to say something?
Oh, no, I was just going to
Oh.
second, but I also just wanted to say, should we be taking the ones being left on the table separately, since it's a different action than the other ones? I'm happy to be led by the table. I just wasn't too sure whether we could do the whole lot in one hit like that.
Jane, are we okay to do the all lot and the one hit like that?
the ones to left out around the table, we've not done anything with those anyway. You've literally said that they'll be left around the table, and the others you've moved and seconded.
So that's okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Thank you. Guy, did you want to say something else? Oh, who seconded them? Oh, Councillor Randall. Right. Any
Martin
debate?
seconded them. Martin
right.
seconded
I'm
them.
easy, fine.
All very keen community board members. That's good to say, isn't it? Is there any discussion or debate? Okay, so all those in favour, could you please raise your hand?
Do the
Councillor
green tick.
Halliday, say something now. Mute. What?
And look, I just wanted to comment
Oh,
that
great.
I just want to congratulate the board for tapping people on the shoulder and encouraging grants to be put in. We've been 19 grant applications. I think an absolutely fantastic outcome for our community, that their money is going back into the community. I also wanted to just thank you, Kathy, for approaching the Principals Association to put $500 into each one of our local schools, just to help kids in need. That's money that's discretionary and can be used. And the only preview around it is to help people in need, to get into teams, or just might be a little bit of a shortcoming on some expenses they've got. And I'm just want to thank everyone for allowing that all to happen.
Thank you. Guy, did you wish to say something else?
No, I think it's been a big rush at the end for applications, and it was quite unusual. But we managed to get the money spent, so well done to the board.
Thank you. Now, Jane wants us to all do the text. So all those in favour, could you
Johnny
please?
wants to speak.
Oh, Johnny.
Yeah, look, I'm just thinking that at some stage we're going to have a discussion as a board about, we've heard a lot tonight about costs of everything going up, and whether we actually need to sort of look at raising that $500 that we've got at some stage. That's all.
Yeah, thank you, Johnny. Yes, I think I sent a note somewhere to Mark, didn't I, Mark, about that? And it'll come up at some annual plan time, I guess. Councillor Halliday. Oh.
Yes, through you, Madam Chair. Look, one thing I did wanted to just address was the $20,000 that we've been was included in the long-term plan. I note through discussions before this meeting that that's potentially going to be rolled over into the next triennium, which actually, sorry, I should rephrase that, into the next financial year rather than the next triennium. Look, I just wanted to note that that $20,000 is part of this triennium, and that I'll have an expectation that this community board might be wanting to spend that before the end of this triennium. I'm not talking about the other $20,000, but we've left three community applications on the table, and it'd be nice to see those funds potentially, I'm not saying they will be, but potentially put towards those applications or other causes that the community board might agree on, rather than letting that money just move through to the next community board as such. Yeah, I just wanted to wonder if we should have some wording around that, or just include it in the minutes.
Oh, thank you, Councillor Halliday. I'll bring it up under matters under action. With a reply. Mark, you wanted to say something?
Yes, through you, Madam Chair. Look, thank you. So the first question was from Johnny Best regarding the $500 limit on the discretionary grants and whether or not that needs to be increased. So, Madam Chair, you did indeed email me that question, and look, what we said is, at the moment, the board has discretion to go beyond $500 if it indeed wants to. That's a delegation that was provided to you by the council of the day. And so in terms of what our procedure will be is officers will certainly be preparing the paperwork. So the intention is that with the new council, when they delegate powers to the community board, particularly around the discretionary grants, we certainly will review that $500. We are comfortable that between now and October, you can certainly go beyond $500 if you deem that it's appropriate to do so. So we aren't taking any action now. We're waiting for the revised delegations from the new council, but you can issue more than $500 if you want to. The second point about the localism funding, absolutely, the intention is to carry the $20,000 over, so that the community board has in fact $40,000. It's a council approved budget, so there's $40,000 that's available to you. There is no intention to put any restriction on the community board as to how fast or how slow you spend that money. So the expectation is that you will spend $40,000 next financial year. And if the community board can spend $20,000 before the elections, which I have no doubt you can, then fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Again, it's just the result of a very active community board seeking applications for funding. So, go with speed. There's $40,000 there to spend, and it won't be taken away by the new council.
Thank you. Now, Jane would like us, please, if you could all use your text. The recommendations have been moved and seconded, and we need you to put up your text, please, or your crosses. Where are we? Participants, no, I don't want participants, I want this one. Tick. There we go, we managed it.
Are you ticking, Guy?
I moved that, I obviously tick it.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So that's everybody's ticked.
That's carried, great, thank you very much, that was great. Now we go on to the minutes of our meeting on page 18. Confirmation of minutes. Has everyone read them? Anybody would like to move them, please? I can take my tick down now, can't I? How do you get rid of your tick? Do you just punch it again?
Punch it again, yeah.
Right, someone to move the minutes. Has everybody read it? Can I have a signal or a tick or something, please?
Bernie, he's moving.
Okay, those move them. A seconder.
Martin's got his hand up.
And Martin, yes. Do you wish to speak, Martin? Oh, no, you're seeing them. Johnny. Seconded by Councillor Halliday. Johnny.
I was just going to second it, but it's already been done.
Oh, right, right. All those in favour, please say aye. Oh, tick. All those in favour, put your tick up again. We better do
the tick thing. Yes, that's everyone. Thank you.
Isn't Zoom fun and games? There we go. Now we're on page 23, matters under action.
If you can remove your ticks, that'd be lovely. Thank you.
Councillor Halliday, could you please remove your tick?
Thank you.
Right, town centres, the transport hub. We did have an update recently from Alison. Has anybody got any concerns about anything or want to follow up anything at all? Councillor Halliday.
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair. Look, I received an email from Jeffrey Churchman. I think it was a news article on his website, Why Can I Watch? But it was just around shade cover, well, sorry, rain cover, I think, from around buses, people waiting for the buses as such. And I just want to make you aware of that conversation being out there at the moment. He was just talking to pretty much for there being a lot of uncovered area while people are perhaps waiting for board buses in the new transport hub area, and perhaps when after they've crossed the road, getting to the shops area there as well. I appreciate there's the underground aspect that you can use, which is covered, but I thought it was a fairly valid point with regards to that. I'm aware in the plan that there's going to be some very interesting bus shelters there with live gardens in the roofs, which I think will look fantastic. But I was just wondering, it might be worthwhile just checking potentially just how much coverage there is for people in regards that might be waiting for buses and getting over the shopping, the supermarkets and such.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Halliday. I'll follow it up with Alison. Councillor Randall.
Yeah, Kathy, I already sent you an email, which I had sent to Councillor Penny Gaylor about the matter. It addresses a concern.
Yes, yeah, we'll follow. I'll get on to it and follow it up.
No, I CC'd a copy to you.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I got a copy from you about the bus shelter at Napotiki Street. Did you send me another one?
No, it's the same one.
Oh, it's the same one. Well, I'm coming. Oh, I see. Shelters, Napotiki and Transport Hub. Yes, you did. I've got it here, Councillor Randall. Thank you. Yes, I'll follow that up. Raumati Village road safety improvements. Hopefully we can have Glenn or someone at our next meeting, as they are saying they will come and give us an update there. Anyone got any comments there? Mark.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Look, through you, look, certainly we can expect to hear from Glenn in the future. Since issuing the agenda, Glenn has been notified that there seems to have been an incorrect process followed by the new speed limits rule. There's some doubt around the legislation. So what Glenn has been told is that the issuance of the detailed guides and supporting information is going to be delayed. We're not sure by how much or why. We've just been told that due process wasn't followed. And so that is going to have an impact on us being able to provide you with information and get on and see what we're going to do with the $400,000 of funding. So it is very frustrating. It's very frustrating for us. We know obviously that this is a large issue. It's been on matters under action for some time. So look, on the positive side, we have the $400,000 confirmation, but in terms of the speed limit guidance and rules, we just have to wait for that. And as and when Glenn's got an update, he will let the community board know.
Great. As long as the 400,000 stays for the roading upgrade.
Yes, that's there, Madam Chair.
Great, thank you. Martin, Councillor Halliday, you waving at me? Oh, you're not. That's good. Right, existing informal walkway tracks, Raumati South. Guy, that was very good putting this in here because I noticed now there's a big subdivision of quite a bit of land for sale down there on the corner by Poplar Ave and Rongamo Lane there somewhere. So it's really good that this council have taken notice of the walking tracks as well. So thanks for that. Martin Kaukau Memorial. Did you all receive the email from Alison today saying that she will be down at the market, Paraparaumu Beach Market, now on the 11th of June to, so if you wanted to take note of that date, talking about engaging with the community around the upgrade of McLean Park and the skateboard park and that. So, and I guess any other issue that the community might like to talk about. Anybody on that? No.
Martin,
Councillor Halliday.
Through Madam Chair, look, I've popped it in my diary. It's a pretty good chance I'll be able to pop down, which is great. But I'm actually not up to speed with what is being proposed. So are we due for a briefing, or is there going to be some information forwarded on to us before that pop up as such, that just sort of lets us know exactly what is being planned as such, or I missed something?
No, I think we got the last update from Alison a couple of weeks ago on McLean Park.
Oh, maybe I missed that, sorry.
Yeah, I haven't got the date on my email, but it'll be a good time to catch up with Alison and have a face-to-face chat with her on the 11th of June anyway, to see exactly where they are at in the timelines.
I'll go back and look through my emails. But did that email have a plan in it, did it?
It didn't have a plan. Well, it's got commencing planning and design for stage 2 of McLean Park development. That includes new facilities to provide more toilets and showers and improve accessibility for everyone, upgrade and extending the skate park in consultation with the community, and prepare the adjoining ground for future upgrades to the open space proposed for older persons area.
Are we sort of just looking for ideas from people? It's just a bit of a community engagement.
This is engaging with the community, with the skate park users, and for the design of the skate park. Awesome. And I do, so it's engaging around all that. So it is good. Yeah. So 11th of June. The RSA Memorial, I meant to follow this up today. Mark, is there any chance of, I could ring Mike to find out the timeline on when this is actually happening? The RSA Memorial on McLean Park. So do the council officers all have to approve this or something?
Oh, through you,
sorry,
Madam Chair. Look, I don't know. I know that they have submitted a drawing, and in terms of the timing and how that actually translates into action, I don't know. So we'd need to just refer that to Mike.
Yes, I was going to ring him earlier this week on Monday and Tuesday, but with the weather being like it was, I thought he might be out there kind of sorting out fallen trees on parks and things. So I left them alone.
But I think the positive is that we now have the drawings and the officers are looking at it. But in terms of what the next steps are, we can just clarify what that is.
Yeah, that'd be good. Te Kahi, that's part of the Te Urahi. Any comment, anything want to comment on that? Just let me know. The new Te Nuhanga Kapiti Community Centre. I was meant to find out today too. I seem to have been catching up on everything. Mark, do we know who's leading this? Who and staff? Who's leading this community centre?
Yeah, so through you, Madam Chair. So that's being run by the initial stages are being run by the People and Partnerships team. So that falls under Janice McDougall.
Okay, right. Thank you. We can follow up with Aaron. McLean Park Skate Park. We've just done that. That's on the engaging on the 11th of June. Over the page. Te Urahi, the gateway, and we've all just received that same email from Alison on the update there. And I think does anybody want to know anything else? I think we just about know as much as what we're going to know at the moment, don't we? Haven't we? Do we? Anybody want to know anything?
Councillor Halliday.
Where's he gone? Oh, up there. Councillor Halliday.
Don't worry, Mark, I'm not going to make it difficult. Look, I was just curious. We've had a presentation in council, and the view around the table was to the consensus around the table was to move forward with the project, and the idea was to front foot the comms around this. There was obviously some good visuals and that sort of stuff, and having said look at the website, none of that's on the website at the moment. Do you know if that's going to be happening anytime soon? As such, I would have thought maybe that might have been up there now just to basically inform the community a bit more about what's going on or what's being proposed.
Mark, can you answer that? Or?
No, I can. Through you, Madam Chair. So, look, thank you, Councillor Halliday. Look, the Mayor has done a media release, and what we'll do is we'll take the action to find out from Alison and the team as to when all the information will be on the council website. I don't know the answer to your question, I'm sorry, but we have publicly said that we have a shortfall and that we're going to continue. So why that information isn't available, we'll find out.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Right, here's that $20,000 next on the agenda. And did you all have time to read the email from Janice this evening that came in? And Mark, we need some guarantee that this will be carried over. Or otherwise, I'm calling a special community board meeting to spend it.
Oh, so through you, Madam Chair. Look. Until such time as the council actually meets and approve the carryover, which is now going to be when they adopt, it's going to be part of the annual plan adoption for next year. That's when the council actually approve all the carryovers. But look, it's the strongest recommendation we can possibly make. That funding is available to the community boards. With COVID-19, the staff just haven't had the resource, the capacity to actually determine what the criteria was. It was localism funding, and it was put into the LTP with very, very vague detail. But we absolutely will carry that money forward. Ratepayers have actually funded that money already. So there's $20,000 for each community board. So there's $80,000 that hasn't been spent. And it is actually for localism. So there was a huge, positive intention by council to put it in there. We've charged ratepayers for it, so we will move it forward. Madam Chair, I can't guarantee that councillors will actually vote on it, but I would be very surprised if any councillor said no, because ratepayers have actually have funded that money already. And the community boards haven't been able to use it because the criteria has not yet been established. So I don't think anyone will object to that money being carried over.
Right. So the annual plan will go through on the 30th of June meeting. Do you know, is that correct? We'll leave my speech until the 30th of June rather than this Thursday.
Yeah. Madam Chair, through you, look, as we spoke earlier this week, by all means, please come to the meeting and have a chat about it. We are managing this through the annual plan process, and our intention is to report it to council as they adopt the annual plan, together with all the CAPEX carryovers. So it is our intention to make sure that you have that $40,000 available. But by all means, come and have a chat. The 30th of June is going to be a very big day for the council. They have an annual plan to consider. They also have to set the rates, and we have to go through the formal process of telling them what's in, what's out. So it's a long day.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I give you my word that we have heard that you want that $20,000 of localism funding. It has been approved by council, and you will get it.
Great. Thank you. Is everyone satisfied? Good. The Paraparaumu Park, Central Park development. Councillor Halliday, did you want to say anything on that?
Through you, Madam Chair. The hydrology report still outstanding, but Mike Mendoza has instigated contact with Marco and the group. So I'm under the impression, Mark, you perhaps confirm that he's sort of a point person with regards to contact around that. It had an interesting a couple of weekends ago. There was a volunteer pop-up at the market, which I popped along to. And I'll take whatever I can get for you boys tonight. And that was really, really good because they had all the different volunteer groups that are pretty much all along the Wharimaku stream, from the Kaitawa Reserve, the Friends of the Wharimaku stream, and a couple of other groups there as well. So it was good to make contact with them, and I'm hoping we can sort of bind them together and sort of start putting together a little bit more of a cohesive approach to that restoration project as such. So it's good making those contacts. I'm just going to lightly build that relationship and report back as it's ongoing.
Great, thank you. Next on the bus shelters, thank you, Councillor Randall, for emailing Darren and Penny Gaylor. Just wondering, have you had a reply to your email? No, nothing at all. I better follow up because they were going to be working with the community board around all the bus shelters, and I haven't heard a word either. I left them all alone for a wee while because I knew COVID was going through there, but I think it's time that we got some kind of a response so we can follow that up. And that ties in with the bus parking areas. As I said, I think, yeah, Raumati's going to be first up. So we'll coordinate that all together. And the beach bylaw, I like that left there because I haven't finished with it yet. Paraparaumu Airport. Johnny, is there anything to report from the airport?
Yes, so just regarding some of the noise complaints and stuff like that we've had, the noise liaison or the community liaison group hasn't met for I think it's over a year now, so it's well overdue for a visit, for a meeting. I did have some correspondence with James Jefferson regarding the meeting, and he was going to contact the chair to arrange the next meeting. I guess COVID has put a spanner in the works for that sort of stuff. Also, the noise monitoring, which they're supposed to have done, they usually use Marshall Day. That's overdue, but there's been a decrease in movements, and of course the noise monitoring 3 years ago, or over 3 years ago, because they have to do it every 3 years, there was high levels of movement, and it didn't breach then, and they would have. So I think there's I don't know whether we can actually, or whether the airport can get away without having to do the noise monitoring, since we know that it's actually going to be below the limits that are set.
No, okay. Anybody?
So until I go to the meeting and find out more, I won't know. I won't be able to sort of tell any more. But we haven't a meeting hasn't been arranged at this stage. Not that I've been aware of anyway.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Johnny. Councillor Halliday.
Through you, Madam Chair, two things. Just one point of interest in regards to the gentleman that were in having a chat about the housing development on 240. I noticed looking through the resource consent that they're only able to be limited to 2 stories due to height restrictions around the airport. Otherwise, so they've actually quite fortunate in that regards, because I've got a feeling that those restrictions weren't there, that might have gone higher. The other thing was, I wanted to just mention a beach bylaw, and it's not to do with the access, but I was contacted by the boat club with regards to any news on the access around there. So I mentioned that to, or passed that information on to Mike Mendonca and Gareth, the new Parks Manager team, and I'm very happy to report back that I wasn't expecting it, but they've reached out and made contact with the boat club to keep them in the loop about what plans are happening moving forward. So although I haven't heard from the boat club, I think they'll be very happy with that, that contact, and it's fantastic to see. So I just wanted to comment on that as well. Great to see that proactive approach by council officers. Much appreciated.
Yeah, no, yeah, Mike's great up there in Parks and Open Spaces. Well, that's all on my agenda. We do not have any public excluded minutes. Does anyone else want anything put on matters under action? Anything else anybody wanted to say? No, nothing? Great. Well, therefore, I shall close the meeting, and thank you, everybody, for your time this evening.
Oh, did Councillor Halliday want to say something?
Did you want to say something else, Matt?
But just really quickly, I just wanted to say, just disability beach access. I hadn't done anything about that yet, but there was some interesting information I heard today at one of our briefings. I can't remember which one it was, about there's a global consent available to parks around beach access. So I'm going to find a little bit more out about that and just see with the coming summer, just what our access to the beaches is like for people with disability or access issues.
Great.
So I'll just keep moving forward with that one slowly.
Okay.
But
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
I shall now close the meeting, and thank you, everybody, for your time.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thanks,
Kathy.
Jack. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, everybody. Cool.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye.